Good morning, evening, or afternoon, whenever you're watching this video. This is Tracy Brown, your somatic nutrition therapist and a tune eating expert, and we are going to pick right up where we left off on Monday. Do you remember what we talked about Monday? What you say about your food and your fear of weight gain, your mind and your body are listening. Every part of you is listening. And so today we are going to talk about, when we talked about on Monday, we talked about food and fear of weight gain. Today we're going to talk about movement. And so compulsive movement is one of the most insidious things that a person can be doing who is trying to heal from any kind of food or body image issue. And so I do want to explain there's two parts to that. There's the folks who are actually compulsively moving, and that's just not exercise per se. It can also be constant like leg tapping. It could be constant like, it's one of those things that you're that person that like constantly moves and is constantly busy, but a lot of it's just extraneous activity. It's not actually all that productive or fruitful. And it feels like it is. It feels like you can't stop. You can't let things go that maybe aren't necessary. And there's the camp of folks who maybe aren't doing the physicalness of it, but they're thinking about it. Oh, I should be moving more. I should be doing more. I should be more productive. But maybe you've hit the point in your journey where your body is just too tired and over it, or maybe you've rebelled. So I've been in all three of those positions. So I have a lot to say about it, but I'll try to keep it in our short video construct here. And if you have more questions, please let me know about it. So for those of you who are compulsively moving, rest assured you're doing it for two reasons. You might be in a starvation response, literally, and this happens for folks who are undernourished and restricting and under their set point. It doesn't matter what your weight is. It doesn't matter if you weigh 100 pounds or 300 pounds. If you're under where you need to be, if you've got some undernourishment, there are a group of people who their brain is just getting them in this flight response because of fear of starving to death. So it's like, move and find food, move and find food. But then you have the eating disorder saying, no, you can't eat the food. So it's just this constant movement. And people will tell me, oh, no, it's not it. I just don't want to gain weight, so I can't stop moving. And I'm like, okay, but if you remember the key study, the majority of our calorie output is from our basal metabolic rate functions, our heart, our liver, our lungs anyway. So all this extraneous movement, all it's doing is depleting your body stores anyway, and ultimately makes you need more food. So it's not doing what you think it's doing. Secondarily, most of the time when I see people constantly moving, they're just in a flight response. And it could be from the starvation, but it also could just be my mind is running. I'm in a high freeze from the sympathetic part of my nervous system. So high freeze means it's almost like your motor is up, high, up, like on full gas throttle in your brain, and you can't stop moving as a way to not think and feel so much. It's like, you're on a record and you're looping, and you're not getting anywhere. And so I think that has to do with starvation, but it just also has to do with like this, maybe it's just how you're wired, that for a while you can maintain, maybe a real long while, you can maintain this flight response. And it's depleting and it's unproductive, but it feels normal, and so you do it, right? And this is really hard to say, but this is something that I tell people all the time, is if you're in that high freeze and you're constantly moving, I'm going to tell you right this second, stop. You have to yield. You have to yield to uncouple that anxiety movement response. And so what that's going to look like is sitting here watching these videos with me, not pacing, and feeling the feelings come up. And maybe you have a weighted blanket on your lap, or maybe you're watching the breeze blow, or the birds chirp. And this is not trying to do any kind of really actual mindfulness. This is not trying to do any meditation. This is really just, can you orient to what's around you? Just orient to what's around you. And that will help you get out of that pattern of sympathetic, like that flight response. So for those of you watching this, you're like, okay, I'm way past that. I'm able to like relax, to take time off of movement, take weeks off, and I don't care. But I do have this part of my brain that it's giving me a lot of crap, basically, making me feel really guilty for not moving more. And that could be the vestiges, obviously, of diet culture still impacting you, and it's time to fully uproot that. And it also could be a little bit of flight response, but you just don't have the energy for it, and you just don't want to go there. I spent a lot of time in that place where it's like, you know, I only move when it's enjoyable or it's neutral. But if I feel like that, and this is very rare, but if I do ever feel like, oh, I need to be moving more, it's like I'm probably feeling something in my body. And it could be that my body would actually benefit from like a walk that day. But especially when I first kind of went from like compulsive exercise to like nothing, I just hit the wall of like, I can't do it anymore. I still had the feelings and the thoughts. And I had to say, no, okay, what's that about? Am I obsessing about moving because I think this is going to change my weight, or I hope it changes my weight? So it's like a big buzzer of like, don't play with that. Just let it go. If it's not about actual true, you know, moving because your hips are sore and you need to get some energy out, that kind of stuff, or to clear your mind, that's fine. But if you do have a pattern of this where like I've stopped moving but I still feel like I should, it's maybe just time to just stand up and sway and do something really gentle enough to kind of like do some of that, but not engage that old neural pathway. And lastly, for those of you who are feeling really like, I can't move, if I do, then it just makes me mad or scared that I'm going to be compulsive again, and we're kind of in rebellion mode, that's a fight response. Respect your fight and say, I hear you. And just because everybody else is moving and it makes you feel like you should move, or you're feeling some guilt, doesn't mean you need to fight back against your body and either go do something big and hard or say, screw it, I'm never going to move again. It's like, be with the tenderness underneath that's scared, so then you can make a choice. And a choice that's not based off of fight, flight, freeze, or please, but it's based off of, what does my body need? So the rebellion's not there, and the shutdown's not there. So I hope this video helped. But what I want to say about it, most importantly, is remember that I know some of these behaviors, some, if not all, were put in place at some point in your life because it felt like protection. It felt like the right thing to do. And it felt like it was helpful. And it probably was helpful for a few minutes. And then those minutes turn into months and years. And then you don't have as much freedom. So all we're trying to do here is kind of walk our way backwards to, where is that spot that I know inside myself that movement at this moment is like a yes. Like it's a true yes. Not out of guilt, not out of shame, not out of shoulds, but I know inside myself right now that it's a yes. And that's how, and following that movement yes as much often as you can will help you uncouple this old neural pathway that you have to compulsively move, or you have to rebel against moving to be okay. So thank you so much for watching. Please pass along this video because I don't think this topic is talked enough about. But it's like, for me, it's like a every day, every week thread that I speak with clients about. So it's really important that more people understand, like, when they get to that place of like, okay, I'm not going to like compulsively move, then people are stuck with like the now what? What do I do about this? When cognitively I know what to do, but my body is like on fire with like anxiety or shame that I'm doing something different and I don't know what to do about that. And I can feel myself be pulled in to exercise just to get rid of that feeling. People need to know that there's an alternative. And so I hope you can help them out too. Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you everybody who came live and just supporting me. I really appreciate that. And I hope you have a really great day. I'll talk to you next time. Bye for now.